It really is outrageous. As an American, not just someone from San Diego, but as the son of a veteran and an American, I'm offended that this is even on the table, that the idea of not paying our military and not giving them paychecks for all the other sacrifices that their families make without them at home is outrageous. It shouldn't even be discussed or a possibility. I think a lot of San Diegans feel that way. I think a lot of Americans feel that way.
It's interesting because supposedly there are a couple of bills, like in the halls of Congress, that say the military would get paid, but you know, it's small comfort because it's at the last minute and probably nothing will be passed.
Right, and again, it's just offensive that it's even on the table or even discussed. I mean, I'm troubled that there are people out there, like the people in your segments, the people I'm hearing from, military families who are even worried about it. They shouldn't have to worry about it. It should be a non-issue, a non-question in their mind. And put it this way, there are people out there defending this country and out there fighting for our country. The last thing they should have to worry about is whether their wife and kids can buy groceries back home. So for everything else that's wrong with this debate, that's been one of the troubling parts. My piece in CNN.com was really about the fact that since I don't live in Washington, I have the luxury of not worrying too much about a government shutdown. I'm worried about the long-term financial insolvency of the country. And I think a lot of people are too. A $14 trillion debt is not something that we can sustain. Meanwhile, our parties are talking about cutting nickels and dimes, $60 billion or $30 billion. And we're talking about a $14 trillion debt. So at least Paul Ryan has a plan out there.
When you look at it, when you look at it, Ruben, they're only apart like $5 billion, the Democrats and Republicans. So they're quibbling over a very small amount of money. And this is just for the 2011 budget. Now they're going to have to negotiate for the 2012 budget. Then they're going to have to decide on the debt ceiling. And you're right, they're missing the big picture here. And it's kind of a scary thing.
They really are. And the reason they are missing the big picture is because to go after the entitlements, that's really where the politics, the rubber meets the road. Social Security has long been the third rail of American politics. They don't want to go after that. Defense spending, we're not talking about the military. They're not extravagantly paid, but all those defense systems and weapon systems. There's so much money going through Washington, as we well know, and so much pressure brought to bear on members of Congress. And those people who give that money and put that pressure, they're the ones who get their needs taken care of. And so unless you go after Social Security reform, unless you deal with defense, unless you deal with entitlements, you're not touching 70% of the budget. So, yeah, we are arguing over nickels and dimes.
Right.
And there's a real disconnect here. I mean, why should we worry about a shutdown? We should be worried about the fact that the current path is just not sustainable for you and your kids and me and my kids.
And as far as we know, the Republican did come forward, Paul Ryan, and talk about, you know, at least finagling the Medicare and Medicaid. So at least one politician has, like, really faced the biggest issues. Ruben, many thanks. You can read Ruben's entire piece on CNN.com/opinion.